Okay, now I'm going to do an example where a is not equal to 1. So you can see there that in this case, this is the value of a. It's not equal to 1. So that makes things a little bit more difficult. We're still going to go through the same process, right? We're still going to kind of move things over, and then we're going to do the same idea, except before we start, every single number needs to get divided by 9, by this number, whatever the number this is, right? So in this case, it's 9. So I got to divide this by 9. So what I want to do is make this x squared, right? So make this a 1. Unfortunately, that's usually going to cause you to have to deal with fractions, right? So this is going to be a, right, even though 0 gets divided by 9, but 0 divided by 0, 0 divided by 9 is 0. So you're going to end up with 0 here anyway. This is going to be a plus 1. This is the one that's going to cause problems or issues. So that'll be a 4 over 3 x. And that is x squared. And that's a minus. I should have put it up higher, further. This will be an x squared. So, oops. This is a 4 here. Minus, it was a negative, right? So I'll put the negative there. Squared. All right. So now that we set it up like this, we're going to go over the same steps. First, get rid of the c. So subtract 1, subtract 1. So you got x squared minus 4/3 x plus something. Again, we're going to figure out what that something is. Equals 2 negative 1 plus, again, that's something. And I'm putting plus because it's always going to be a positive number. It's not going to be negative. Okay? So how do I figure out what that number is here? Again, I'm going to look at the value of b, right? Negative 4/3. That's the number I'm going to look at. And so to figure out this number, I'm going to take negative 4/3, and I got to divide that by 2. And then whatever I get, I need to square it. So here's where, I don't want to say it's impossible. It's not super hard. It's actually, once you deal with fractions, it's not that hard. So dividing by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. Dividing by 2 is the same thing as dividing by its reciprocal. So it's going to be negative 4/3. Instead of dividing, I'm going to multiply. And what is the reciprocal to? It's 1 over 2. Right? And then I'm going to square. And again, these are things you need to know for TSI. If you're not past your TSI, you need to know how to do this. So right here, before I multiply this out, I'm going to cancel. I'm going to simplify, cross simplify. You can do that. This 4 and this 2 can, and only if you're multiplying, can both be divided by 2. So this is going to become a negative 2, right? And this is going to become a 1. So I'm pretty much right there already. Negative 2 over 3 times 1 over 1. So that's going to be negative 2 over 3, right, squared. And again, TSI stuff. What is this equal to? Numerator times numerator, negative 4 times negative 4 is, negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. And then the denominator, 3 times 3 is 9. So that is the number that's going to go right here. Right? And normally, again, this would have been simpler if it was a whole number and not a fraction. But it's half of this number, half of this, the number colored in pink here, half of that, and then squared. That's what you're going to add to both sides. Now, moving on to the I'm going to factor this now, right? So factoring this is going to be x something and squared. So here I'm going to take half of this. So what is half of negative 4/3? Well, remember, half is divided by 2. So this, it was this right here inside the parentheses. It's actually this. So this is going to go in there. Remember, because I took half of it before I squared it. I took the square. So this is actually going to be minus 2/3. Right? And that's going to equal 2. On this side, I got to add that up. So again, fractions, pain in the butt, right? Since the denominator is 9, I can make this 1 into negative 9 divided by 9 plus the 4 9ths, right? So the denominator is going to stay the same. It's going to be a 9. But I'm looking at the top. Negative 9 plus 4 is negative 5. So that's what that is. Negative 5 over 9. Okay? Okay, so let's work on this equation here. So it's going to be x minus 2/3 right? So now, again, square root property, and I understand these questions are very long. So square root, so it's not very pleasant. Square root. So on the left side, x minus 2/3, x minus 2/3, no more squared, is equal to plus or minus the square root of negative 5 over 9. So remember that this negative, we can take out I out. The 5 will stay inside. And we can break this up. What is the square root of 9? It's 3. So notice that this 3 is not inside in there anymore because I took the square root of it. It's 9. So then the last step is to plus 2/3 to both sides. And again, that number can go here in the front. And since it's positive, I just put 2/3. Right? Cancels this out. So that's my answer. X equals 2. 2/3 plus, oops. Square root of 5 over 3 stays the same.